Hi, I'm Jeff Taylor. I'm an E5 with the Active Duty Air Force. I'm stationed down here in Charleston, South Carolina, and I am a C-17 crew chief. I've been in for almost 9 years. I spent 8.5 of those years here at Charleston. So with this video, I thought I would touch base on what I've done with my time here at Charleston. When I got here, I started out my first 3 years doing it's called home station check. It's basically just scheduled maintenance on the aircraft. Basically, it's the same thing as taking your car to a dealership for a 100,000-mile checkup. Doing preventative maintenance inspections that can't be done. Keep these planes healthy. While I was there, I also got to do a little bit of training with aero repair, which is working on flight controls and doors. It was changing parts on, doing the rigs, make sure everything's safe, which that was a pretty good learning experience. I enjoyed that. After I did my 3 years there, home station check, I got moved up to MOC, which is Maintenance Operations Center. Basically, we're like a control point for all of maintenance for our fleet here in Charleston. We track maintenance here on the flight line as well as our aircraft that are elsewhere in the world that are broke that need our support. And sometimes we even support other C-17s that other bases own. Basically created a paper trail. We're kind of like a liaison between maintenance, ops, which is air crew, and like supervision, like for our commanders and higher ups. So spending my time up there for 3 years was a pretty big learning experience, seeing basically how the mission works instead of just standing on an airplane turning the wrench. I know how working on the flight line affects the mission that might have something to do halfway around the world, and I can see how all of our commanders and whatnot played an integral role in all that. After I did my 3 years there, I got moved out to the flight line, which is where I've been for the last 2.5 years, and that's where we are in the frontline mission, launch and recover aircraft, servicing, maintenance, basically keep the planes airworthy so we can put lines on missions and get things done. In those 8.5 years, 3 different shops. I have had a chance to take a few deployments, 5 specifically so far. I've gone twice to Rhein-Main Air Base in Frankfurt, Germany, which unfortunately is closed now. I did 1 trip to work the flight line and another trip to work the MOC. I've been to a base in Southwest Asia. Same thing, gone twice. Once for the flight line, once for MOC. And my 5th deployment, I actually just got back from about 2 months ago. I went to a small base in northern Iraq to do transit alert, which was basically catch planes and park them and stare at them until they leave. So more or less to me, that was a paid vacation, which I actually liked. Take a couple of TDYs, it's temporary duty. I've been to Pope Air Force Base in North Carolina a couple of times. Once to support some aircraft for the 82nd Airborne to do some airdrops, and been up to a training center in Michigan for mobility exercise to prepare for a base inspection. So I've had 3 shops I've worked in, and definitely got 5 deployments under my belt, a couple of small trips. So I've seen some things, and I think with everybody who's been in, you have experiences that will stick with you for a long time. And so I thought I would share the 2 things that have always stuck with me that I've always felt was very important in what I've done with my time. The first one, which probably doesn't surprise too many people, was being part of Hurricane Katrina. I was working up in the MOC when that got kicked off. I was actually the senior controller that night, which means I was in charge. They got the call up from headquarters that said, "You're launching aircraft." So we started that. I think throughout that whole ordeal, I think we launched about 30 aircraft, evacuated about almost 1,600 people, moved about 18 pallets worth of supplies, moved a SWAT team and damage assessment team down there. So that was a pretty big deal to me and to a lot of other people as well. There was another thing that I experienced when I was in Rhein-Main Air Base in Germany. I was working mock. We had an aircraft starting up engines, getting ready to leave on a mission to go to Greece. And we get a call up from headquarters. They told us, they said, "You got a jet sitting on the ground, starting engines about to leave." So we got an aircraft sitting in Greece, one of our C-17s, that had a broke engine starter. Your aircraft is going to that base. You need to get a starter on that aircraft to get it to Greece. They said that aircraft was trying to medevac a little girl who was very sick. And they told us if we didn't get that part on that aircraft, she was going to die. We made some phone calls. Very quickly got that starter pulled out of supply, got it on the aircraft, and the aircraft actually took off on time. We never heard anything after that. I think we tried to follow up a little bit just because we were curious and wanted to see how that went. So as far as we know, she made it okay. So to me, that was always a pretty big thing outside of, moving a army and, weapons and whatnot. It's not all about war sometimes. So that was definitely very memorable for me. So with that, kind of giving you a brief rundown on what I've done with my almost 9 years of service I've put into the Air Force. And I hope that was insightful, and I look forward to doing this again.